Hey guys, what's going on? So, had the car for 2 months now. This is probably going to be a short video because the light is dying and I'm not sure how much you can actually see. Anyway, I wanted to go over some things because it's been a while with what I'd done, because I talked about it in the first video that I was working on the engine a little bit. So in here, this intake right here is new. I replaced the stock Dorman model with a Ford Performance one, which seems to be a little bit better made. You still get the aluminum crossover and everything, which if you buy a newer Dorman, you get that anyway. But you still get that with it, so it's good quality. A lot of guys that I had talked to had said that, you know, it's a good aftermarket option, not aftermarket, well, ish. Anyway, good option, as opposed to buying like an Edelbrock, like Victor Jr. or something like that, or like even a Performance Products, which is, at least in my case, they're back ordered until like September. So, I mean, good value at like $400 ish, but I couldn't wait until September to buy it. But those things are all aluminum, and you know, that's the way to go if you can find one. Anyway, settled on that. It's good. Haven't had an issue. I've been driving this car actually pretty much every day for the last couple months, ever since my last video or so when I got everything fixed. Secondly, so when I first bought the car, the guy was complaining about a misfire, and he had done a lot of work to it, stuff like that, and you know, basically got to a point where he was blowing gaskets on the intake and it was misfiring, and he was just over it, done. Let me show you a picture right now of what I found as to why he was having a misfire. Be right here. So yeah, I kind of lucked out. Wasn't too bad. That's a pretty good reason to buy a car for cheap. Anyway, I think the reason why he was working on stuff and he was getting all these issues was because when I first got it, the car was overheating. The fan was not kicking on when it was supposed to at about, God, I can't even think of what temperature range it is now. I'd say probably about 180, something like that. I did end up replacing temp gauge, if that's what that's called. For some reason, can't remember. Replaced that, replaced thermostat. And then I ended up wiring a switch in. You can kind of see the wires for that. I'll show you here in a bit. But I wired a switch in basically where it's all manual control on the fan now. So I just, basically, if I'm in town driving, something like that, under 45 miles an hour, keep the fan on. I need a little bit more powerful one because it does heat up pretty fast. And I've actually blown like 3 of them right now up to this point. So that still needs a little bit of work. But it does serve a decent purpose. So anyway, I found the misfire, replaced some parts. I ended up throwing all new spark plugs and stuff in, which probably wasn't necessary, but I did it anyway. Then once I got it going and bled, or at least put new coolant in and stuff, and bled all this stuff out. This one actually took me a little while to get it to burp, so I was kind of using coolant, but that's fine now. Next thing was I was losing coolant and the intake was cracked, so that's why I ended up buying a new intake. It was cracked down here. Again, if you can see this or not, I'm not sure, but these heater hoses right here, it was actually cracked on this one where it goes into the intake, which is common. Dorman intakes are junk. So anyway, that's why I replaced that. Otherwise, car. And there it goes. Anyway, after all that stuff, car's been running great. I got about 140, almost 148,000 miles on it right now, which I've put on a couple since I've driven it, because I work round about 30, 40 miles away from home. So a lot of back and forth driving, but aside from the straight pipe exhaust, it's a pretty decent ride on the way to work. And so it's been good. Now, just stare up at the sky for a while I figure out this hood prop. I actually fixed that too, because that wasn't connected when I first got it. You probably remember the board that I had. Yep. Yep. Next thing, you see that? So this blew off on Thursday. Basically, I was driving home and this side was coming up quite a bit. And I went past some semis and the wind was blowing like 40, 50 miles an hour out of the south. Basically right into it. And yeah, after probably 20 miles or so, and enough trucks had driven by and enough wind had hit it, that it just basically flipped over, hit the windshield, and it looks like it hit the hood a little bit, or the roof. Sorry, English. That's a bonnet. This is the hood. So it hit this, and then flew up. And I basically just let it go. I didn't even stop until the next day, and then I found it. I was just kind of over it. But it is back here. And surprisingly, it's fine. I thought somebody ran it over. That was part of the reason why I didn't stop. But it's actually in just as good a shape as it was when I first had it. There's scratches and gouges, and there's no really decent paint on there. But that's what it is. So that's happened. Rear end is still making noise, which I don't know if I mentioned that in the first one or not. It needs axle seals, and then sounds like the pinion bearing on the diff itself and stuff, the gears and everything is going out. It makes like a whine sound a little bit. When I'm driving, I can hear a little bit hear like a groaning sound. It's kind of when you get out of the throttle. If you're like in second or something, I can hear it a lot here in the neighborhood and stuff on the way to work. Hear kind of like a groaning sound coming from the rear end if I don't clutch in, but I just kind of like throttle out and just let it kind of coast. I can hear that. So whatever, issues. And let's see here if I find my keys. And this one's getting just a little bit nitpicky, just because why not? But I've actually fixed this once. Make sure my radio's not on. I don't want you hearing me like bumping some weird stuff. So this goes down, and it used to not come back at all, so I fixed it. But then it gets to here, so you push it a little bit and it goes up, and then you go again, push it a little bit, and then there it goes. Just old Ford Mustang problems. Anyway, so that's been kind of the experience, and here I'll give you a better view of the interior and stuff. It's actually clean. I don't know that I really got in here too much before. Here's my switch that I wired in. That's just a perfect place for it, for the fan. So yeah, I mean, that's about it. It's, like I said, it's been a good car for the most part. Just a lot of olds, in a 19, 20-year-old car. What do you expect? I am actually, as that being said, I'm thinking about selling it because I've got some other projects that I'll show you at the end of the video that I'm kind of working on. So I don't know. Kind of sad to see it go, if it does go, and I may just keep it. I don't know. I mean, yeah. As car guys, you all know how that stuff goes. Sometimes you got to sell, sometimes you got to keep. If I'm not going to make any money on selling it or come out even, I may just keep it just because it's a fun car. I mean, goddamn, like with the 373 gears and the 10.5 to 1 compression that it's got, and the straight pipe exhaust, it's just, it's unreal. I mean, it's a super fun car just to get around in. A daily driver, not so much. But I mean, it's a hoot. It's fun. It's just like a little race car. It's not super powerful. I mean, it's not coyote swapped. It's not pushing 500-600 horsepower or anything like that. But in a new Edge with, anywhere from 250 to 300, very liberally estimate Rear wheel horsepower, I mean, it moves. That's you know, at least at 300. I mean, that's damn near Cobra territory. It's fun. I just don't know what to do with it. So we'll just kind of see. I'll keep you guys posted. I just kind of wanted to do something since it's been a while. And I've actually gotten some new viewers and some subscribers and stuff that kind of reached out to me and talked to me about it. So wanted to give you guys at least a little bit of an update. I do think I'm taking the shade tint garbage off the back. I don't know. What do you guys think? I'm not a huge fan of it. When I was like 17, yeah, I like tint everything. Put the GTS headlight covers on there and tint the tail lights and, you know, paint the interior or the inside of the area in between the tail lights, paint that black, paint the hood scoop black, which actually was what this car had on it before the previous owner bought it. You know, all that stuff. But I don't know. It's not a big fan, so I may end up taking that stuff off, tint the windows, and I may actually end up leaving that hood scoop off because I kind of think it looks better. See, I kind of think it looks better, honestly, without a spoiler on it. There's no spoiler. I mean, there's a bush light can, which kind of serves as a spoiler, but it doesn't go all the way across. But just, if it's going to be lowered and kind of sleek as far as no spoiler, why not just leave the hood scoop off? It actually kind of looks better, aside from the garbage right there. But yeah, I don't know. I kind of like it the way it's set, so I may just clean stuff up and I may just keep it and drive it around on the weekends. You know, a lot to be said, but we'll see. So yeah, I alluded to some new things. I will go ahead and put them in right now and kind of let you guys know what's coming up in the future. And God, I hope you can see this video because it's like dusk. I mean, it's like 9 o'clock, I think. But yeah, we'll see. So thank you again for watching, and hopefully I will have something new for you sooner than every 2 months. So, all right, take care. Later. Okay, so here's the new stuff. Like I said, got an 01 GT. It has a blown motor that I know of, but may need some work to it, and it may not actually be a blown motor. Picked this up for pretty cheap from work, and kind of see where that goes. So yeah, another project. And then I've got a 93 LX coming up that I'm swapping all my 87 parts into, and we're going to do some work to that. So keep posted. Hopefully I'll have some more for you. Later.